Welcome in on episode 92 in the KIPS Podcast. Even saying that just sounds pretty amazing to me as I'm getting closer to 100 episodes with the KIPS Podcast. And with this one, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is top 5 tips for instructors starting on YouTube. My name is Tyler Valencia. I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. Now, I'm going to start this episode talking about how this episode came together, some of the insights with it. I will mention that I did an episode about YouTube and why fitness pros, health, wellness, fitness pros should start on YouTube. And I'll link that episode in the description. And I was actually surprised when I was looking through and trying to think of some ideas for a new episode in the KIPS Podcast. And I saw that that one did extremely well. And hopefully people got something from it, something that sparked an interest to look at YouTube or potentially add that into their business. And when I say business, I don't mean you have to be a small business owner. You could just be an independent instructor, whether you're working in a gym, working by yourself, and looking at YouTube to potentially add it into your workflow, how you're creating content. Now, with this episode specifically and giving some tips on how my own businesses have evolved over the last few years and integrating YouTube more, this year specifically, this summer specifically, I saw the power of YouTube and what it can do for your business. Now, I mentioned in the introduction there that I own a business called Time to Train Fitness. It is a YouTube-based workout brand, and how I mention it now is even different than maybe how I would have said it before. And I say it's a brand because we are moving our instructors to their own channels, because really with YouTube, it's trying to find the perfect viewer. It's trying to find that one person that likes your workouts and is coming back to it, and they're going to go find more of them. And what we had with Time to Train Fitness when we were on YouTube and trying to grow that channel, we had a plethora of workouts on there. And when you think about it and take into account what I just mentioned with what YouTube's trying to do, it's hard to find that one person that likes every type of workout that I just mentioned. So it might struggle with getting views, subscribers, and it might be a slow process. Or when one type of workout gets popular, the other ones might suffer from that. And so this journey that I've gone through over the last few months and changing my mindset, changing how we're developing each channel, I've seen the power of it. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with these tips that I'm going to get into. But before we get to the first tip, I want to say thank you for tuning in for this podcast episode, listening to the KIPS Podcast. There's a lot of options out there when it comes to podcasting and especially business development. In this specific podcast, the KIPS Podcast, with it being for health, wellness, fitness professionals, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you ever miss any part of this episode, you can always tune in on YouTube. Go find the part where you left off and make sure that you subscribe when you're there. And also, if you get a chance, leave us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Those help tremendously with getting this out there, growing the podcast, and hopefully helping other health, wellness, and fitness professionals. Let's talk about the first tip that I have for you now. And this is one that is hard. I'll admit it's very hard, and one that I have to preach to people that work with me on Time to Train. And that's patience is key. And many times you're going to look at yourself, look at your channel, and you're going to think, oh, why isn't it growing? Why aren't I getting more subscribers? Why aren't I getting more views? And results aren't immediate. Everything that you want with YouTube, it's definitely possible, but I've always heard how YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. Yes, if you have a following, you have subscribers already on other social media platforms, it's going to help out because you're going to be able to get the word out there more. But if you don't have those items, do not be afraid to go on YouTube, because YouTube will find that audience for you. It'll find that viewer, like I mentioned, and they will come eventually. And a little story, I'm going to share 2 stories with this one. The first one that I want to share is with a friend of the podcast, and both of them, the Cohens, Kaylee Cohen and Jason Cohen, they've both been on the podcast, the KIPS Podcast, shared insights from their own journeys on YouTube. And I remember when I first got introduced to them, it was during 2020 and I was getting into indoor cycling myself, and I found their channel, and I think they maybe had 60,000 at the time. And I mean, they've exploded since then because they do such a great job with their workouts, community, every single piece. It's really inspiring. And when I first met them, I remember looking them up on Instagram, Kaylee, and I feel like maybe she had 400 subscribers. And now I know they have thousands on their Instagram account, and they did it a different way. I know I've shared that with many people. And when I go to different conferences or when I see what people are talking about with social media, there's not just one way to do it. You can do it different ways with building your audience. And I share that story because I know there's people out there, health, wellness, fitness instructors, that they look at social media as something that they don't want to get into, and that's okay. And there's different ways to build your audience and use it that way. Another tip that I'm going to share here that goes along with patience and growing your audience is try using all that YouTube has to offer. Just like every social media platform or search engine, they want you to use it. And that could be in a variety of ways. So with YouTube, they have shorts, they have the community page, they have video uploads, and you could also subscribe to other channels and use it. Use all those features. Those are all different ways to grow your channel. Shorts, which are basically Instagram Reels, and the community page where you can connect with your audience, create polls, ask a question, post an image, post a video clip, and also your regular uploads. Those are all features that YouTube wants you to utilize. So if you use them, they're going to show your page, your content to more people. The takeaway for this one is to let YouTube do its thing and let it find the perfect viewer. If you're in the market for adjustable dumbbells or at-home workout equipment, check out Core Home Fitness at the link in the description. From adjustable dumbbells, multi-function benches, and all-in-one options, they got it all. I personally have their adjustable dumbbells and the glute drive that also works as a bench, and would recommend them to anyone building their home gym or looking for easy adjustable options. The dumbbells, they easily adjust from 5 pounds to 50 pounds just by turning the handle and lock in for your safety. Grab yourself a pair and see for yourself how easy they can fit into your fitness program. If you've been a fan of this podcast, you know that before end of each episode, you're going to hear a promotion for the Naboso Duo insoles. I've been using them for probably a year and a half, and I personally think they're game changers. I think everybody should get them, try them out, see what you think. And personally, I've talked about how I used to have foot pain just from sitting at a desk and then trying to be active, trying to go work out, and not really being able to fully maximize it. So I always try to throw it out there for individuals to just try them out, see what you think, utilize them in your day-to-day, and hopefully improve your overall activity level. That's the key right there, activity level. So check them out. There's a link in the description for the Naboso insoles. They have a variety of them to check out, different accessories. Check them all out, see what you think, and hopefully come back and let us know that they've really helped out with your activity level. Let's get back to the episode. Next tip number 2 here. The journey is the juice. And this is another one. And recently I was having a conversation with an instructor and talking about the journey, because it's tough to get into that mindset that this is a journey, a marathon, and you're not going to get immediate results from it. And it might take some time, but a lot of YouTubers will tell you what they learn throughout the process is what helped them grow their channels. Because many times you're going to look back at your old content and you're going to think, why did I do that? The one that always comes to mind for me is actually the video that has the most amount of views on Time to Train Fitness. And it is a tutorial on how to clip into SPD pedals. And when I go back and watch it, I'm looking at the coloring. It's not white balanced. It's crooked. The angle that I have for so many pieces of it, I'm like, why did I do that? And the decisions I made with it, they're things that I wouldn't even, I know that I wouldn't have an issue with now. but that video is super popular and it's helpful. And it has, I think, over 100. I know it has over 100,000 views. I don't know if it's 111, whatever that might be, but it has a ton of views on it. So remember, it's the journey. Focus on the small items. That's the takeaway. Focus on the small items with your process. How are you setting up for to film your session or create content? All those little items that go into it, and it doesn't have to be the biggest items. It could be on, what you're wearing, on your setup, your angles, or even is the content you're making, is it entertaining? Is it going to be helpful? All those things are to look at, and remember that it's going to be a journey. You're going to grow from it. So start creating content and learning from the process. Tip number 3 here, and this is one that at the last conference that I was speaking at, it was DCAC in Washington, D.C., which is usually in August. And I've done it 2 years in a row, and maybe in the future, if you're looking at conferences and have never been to Virginia, D.C. area, this is a great one to think about. But I talked about start with what you got and then invest in quality. Everyone gets worried when they go on YouTube and they see that these videos with hundreds of views, millions of views, and you're like, well, I can't do that. I don't have the technology, the camera for that. Start with what you got, and then down the road, invest in other items. You don't need the most expensive camera. I can say that when we started Time to Train and creating videos, and even today, iPads and iPhones are used, and eventually we upgraded down the road, but iPhones and iPads is what we started with. And you think, oh, wow, I have one of those in my pocket right now. I can create content with that. Yes, you can. You can create very good content that looks great. And with investing in microphones and different items, lighting, you can create solid content. And then down the road, look at ways that you want to upgrade it. With the hierarchy, in my opinion, it's audio over video quality when you begin. You want something that sounds great. You don't want something that sounds like you're yelling inside of your garage and you can hear all the echoes. You want something that's rich, that sounds like the person is professionally doing it. And there's microphones out there, attachments and interfaces, mixers that you can utilize in order to do that. So invest in audio quality over video quality to begin. If all you have is a 1080p, okay, that's fine. Maybe work on your lighting. That's usually a quick way to improve the quality of a video, in my opinion. Just improve the lighting. If the camera doesn't have to work as hard because it's lit, you're lit properly, it's gonna look better. With iPhones or iPads, make sure your video is in 4K. That's one of the big things that I always mention, and is usually the first step with improving a video. Is make sure you go into your settings, go to video recording, and just make sure that it's in 4K, because I believe often it'll be set to 1080. These days, I'm pretty sure iPhones have that fixed, but just make sure. And I know that when I say iPhones, people immediately think that, oh, well, I have an Android. This doesn't apply to me. Whatever your settings might be, just go check them. I don't know how to do it in an Android phone, but I'm sure it's something just to quickly check and make sure. Next tip here, tip number 4, research but not compare. This is one, it's hard. It's really hard to not compare yourself to other videos, other types of content in your market. Research is an important part of growing on YouTube. You want to see what's out there, get ideas, and see where you can improve your own. I can tell you that I do this on a weekly basis. I go type in the type of the search terms that I want my videos to trend under, and I go see what they're doing. And oftentimes, and this is my own complaint against YouTube and with the area that I create content in, is that I'm blown away with the quality of the workouts, in my opinion. And this is one of the things that hopefully YouTube improves upon. But there are workouts that often look like they're filmed in the same place. They're not really cueing or doing great technique. And you're like, man, how does this thing have a millions of views on it? And hopefully you get motivated from it. You think, okay, I know that I create better quality workouts. I know I can put something out there that people will like, instead of thinking, oh man, I'm never going to get a million views. I'm never going to do this. Think about how you can improve on your own process, because it's very important to constantly research and also watch your own. Research your own videos. Watch your content back. That's one of the qualities I think of a good online instructor, is they watch their own content. I've heard it a million times. I don't like watching myself. I don't care. It's such an important process. You learn about your quirkiness. You can learn about things that you do regularly, and hopefully you improve upon them, to work on your cueing, work on how you're facing the camera, work on your camera angles, all those little things that you can get back from watching. So take that time to do it, and don't take it negatively. Make sure what you're watching, whether it's yourself or another video, not comparing yourself, but thinking about, oh, that's a good idea, or I can do that in this way. Okay. Last tip here, and this is another one, and I'm joking with this, but I'm laughing at these ones because I know oftentimes people want these definitive answers. They want, okay, you need to do this tip. And I've seen millions of videos like this on YouTube, and I stopped watching them because a lot of them say the same thing. And they probably say a lot of what I just mentioned with it, because the mixture of YouTube, there's not a special sauce. The videos that I see that have, here's the secret tip or things along those nature, I mean, do they actually work? Maybe, maybe not. I know that these things that I'm mentioning to you do work. I got off on a little tangent there, but let me get back to it with the last tip. Work on being you. And what I'm going to say here is your personality is what attracts people, and it's what keeps them coming back. People want to know about you. This is true with social media as well. They want to know about you. They want to know what you're interested in, what you do. And I can see with myself, with engaging more on social media, engaging more on different platforms, the audience grows, and people that have found you on YouTube, they're interested in those types of things. So your personality, be yourself on camera. You could be fun. If you are a jokester, be a jokester with your content. If you are somebody that's the drill sergeant, be the drill sergeant. Use your personality to your benefit. Don't think that you have to be someone you saw. Be yourself. If you make mistakes, be yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's often hard to do that, because when you have a camera that's turned on, it's recording, there's no audience there, there's nothing to feed off of, it's hard to generate that intensity and generate that energy that you want to put into each workout. So work on those aspects that people can feel it. I can tell you from editing, my guess is hundreds, maybe thousands of workout videos, that when an instructor brings the energy, you can feel it. You can feel it on the other end, and it makes it seem like you are in their living room with them, cueing them, all those types of things. So work on being you, work on bringing the energy so that your audience can feel it through the screen. Now, that has been this whole episode on my top 5 tips for fitness instructors starting on YouTube. As I joked about, it's probably not some of the things you want to hear, because you want that definitive answer. You want to know, oh, I need to do X, Y, Z. But these are things that I have seen myself. I've seen from other successful YouTubers in the same space, the fitness space. And one bonus tip here that just came to mind that I'm going to use to sign off this episode with is that YouTube, the community within YouTube, fitness instructors, often they're very generous with their time, their experience, and what has helped them. All these things that I'm mentioning right now, I've gone through all these. It's from experience. And things that I talked about in this episode, when I talked about the Cohens, Kaylee Cohen, Jason Cohen, these are very successful YouTubers that are still growing, but they will share their analytics, share their insights with other YouTubers, because it's not a competition. YouTube is a global platform. You're not working within your own city, your own town. It's a global platform. So there's plenty to go around. There's plenty of customers, potential clients out there for you. So focus on these things and let your channel grow. That's been it for this episode. I hope you get something from it. I hope you share it with somebody that you think will be able to benefit from it. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in this episode or on the blog page or on social media, and we'll try to get to those. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one.